Hello, welcome back to my channel. In case you missed it, like me, I only just realized maybe 10 minutes ago, it's actually Friday the 13th. So happy 13th day. 13 is a very magical number. I've always aligned it with the number for goddess energy, higher self connection, and also because the 1 and the 3 add up to a 4 for building foundations and putting foundations down. The 1 is always about new beginnings, new adventures, and the 3 is about expansion. So for me, it's always been a magical number. I never looked at it as a negative number. So happy Friday the 13th. And it's also a powerful number right now because it is opening the Stargate for this next higher level transmission of light to come through, which I believe is our final transmission. And then we head into the solstice energy at the end of June. But this influx of light closes out the previous 2 that we had. This is going to be the most potent or the most powerful. I'm going to apologize because there are landscapers outside, so I hope that the noise is not competing with me in this video. So these powerful influxes of light coming in are super significant because they are amplifying the Stargate of our heart, which is bringing us into these higher level frequencies. Now, for those that are not doing their work or don't even understand or know what an ascension is, they're probably going to have a much more challenging time with this. I'm hearing stories from many people that I'm connected to that they're having interactions with people who are simply melting down and not having any control over their emotions, both men and women breaking down, feeling very disorganized, not really being able to come to terms with what's taking place in their life for many different reasons. And this is all the emotions coming to the surface that are being pushed to the surface as the photonic light, the solar ray light, right, that cosmic light coming through the CMEs and the solar ejections and coronal mass ejections, the solar winds, all of that stuff, whatever we're seeing going on in with the sun, with Solaris, is hitting the field. And because matter is now shifting to more energy, where we used to be in a 3D reality where everything was solid matter, and now nothing is in its solid form anymore. Everything is shifting into a more energetic flow state of being. Okay, so all of that has to change in the human form too in our field. And so anything that is a distortion, that is discordant energy, is going to be pushed to the surface. And if we're not doing our work, we may be feeling it. Now, if we're doing our work, we could also be feeling it in the way of timelines, right? So many what feels like eons, I almost said that word, years ago, when I was first doing my ascension work, I was tuning into timelines through hearing. And I was hearing different I guess you could say different parallel realities, and where I might have been in like a period of Baroque music, and I would hear that playing in my head consistently, and it would sound like it was in the room with me. Or there were times where I was felt like I was at a jazz festival because I was hearing jazz so clearly in my head. And then I came to realize that I was having these parallel realities or parallel timeline bleed throughs coming through that were integrating into my present state of being. Of course, you all know from all my prior videos that we are doing this all night long in our sleep state. We're integrating and merging these timelines so that we can really come into full presence in this now moment, in this current timeline where we are. Okay. So it's very important to have this awareness of how this is all working, because it can really benefit us when something is presenting in our reality. Now, in today's timelines are showing up in dreams, which I will explain in a second. And they're also showing up in the waking state in the way of maybe feeling into some chaos, right? That might be presenting as such as a client of mine had mentioned to me this morning that she was in a store and it felt like 100 people were talking all at once, yet it probably wasn't that way at all. But on a telepathic level, she was tuning in and hearing everybody's frequencies, hearing everybody, you know, thought waves and patterns and frequencies, waves, right? Thoughts are frequencies, thoughts are waves, wave thoughts. And so all of that coming into our field can be quite overwhelming. And she said it was very, very challenging. She was really having a very difficult time with it, and then realized it was probably timelines and this higher level light that was coming through that she realized. And then she was able to take some deep breaths and bring herself back into center again. And then, of course, when she gets home, she's going to do our favorite thing to do when we do this, when we have these experiences, she's going to rest. Okay. And so it's incredibly important at this time to have an awareness of everything that is transpiring. Because again, if you think about it, and the body has to come into a more fluid state of being, a more energy state of being, it means that everybody is going to have to start being able to feel energy, tune into energy, whether you've ever experienced that or not, right? My whole entire life have been able to feel energy, read energy, and interplay with energy. And then, of course, there was a period of time where I was a Reiki practitioner, and I was working with energy. And I will tell you, I was busy doing that work. I was working with energy every single day. So I was, and I would have a couple clients in one day. So I was getting a lot of practice on how to interact and how to work with energy. Now, of course, that's different for me, because when someone is working with me directly in a one-on-one capacity, whether it's an online session or it's an in-person session, obviously I'm still working in the field. I'm working to adjust the frequency in their field through the state of presence, through communing, and of course working with the higher self, and then just holding my frequency at the frequency that it is, which is the frequency of love, in order to assist and support that person that I'm working with, and giving them an opportunity to clear the distortion from their field and have a more expanded state of being. Okay. And I can do that simply by holding my presence. I don't have to touch anybody. I don't have to work on anybody. I don't have to, put any symbols or anything like that. It's just through my presence and through my state of being that I can do that. And we all do that. It's just some of us are more aware. And I came here for this reason, really. If you think about it, I don't want to say purpose or mission, but kind of sort of it is, and yet it isn't at the same time, because none of that is really true. But that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help people open up to their next highest potential, which is something that's important, because everybody is ascending their consciousness on the earth at this time now. So what's most important is for us to all have this awareness of what is transpiring, and then tune into our body and say, hey, body, what do you need in this now moment? And then let's say you're working a 3D job where you are not able to just go home and lay down. But then when you do get home later that night, you have to make the time or the space in order to be able to lay down. And even if you have a family, this means choosing yourself and taking some me time over everybody else to support your DNA activation and your upgrade for your ascension process, right? And this process that we're going through requires absolute presence on our part. We have to be absolutely present in our awareness, in our state of being, which means that we have to be tuned into the thoughts that we're thinking and be aware of those thoughts before we take action on them. Are those thoughts bringing us into our highest state of being, our highest state of alignment, or are they not? Are we going to be reactive without being responsive, right? Reactive is a mode of action where we're not conscious, we're not present, we're in reactionary mode. So we're not in our heart center. But if we are having thoughts and then we are wanting to transact those thoughts, let's say, that, and we're coming into our heart space, we can take a moment out, take a breath, and be more responsive and come from a place within us where we're not reacting, and we're not in an emotional place. Because when we're in our emotions, we're not in the right place to be dealing with anything that's important in our lives, right? As a matter of fact, when we're in our emotional state, we're not in a place to be dealing with anything at all, no matter what it is in our lives, okay? And so it's very, very important going forward. I mean, it's always been important, but it's even more important right now because these energies, their frequencies are just so super high. We have to start managing ourselves. We have to start managing our thoughts. So going forward, it's super important to manage our thoughts. What are you thinking? Is your thought in divine creatorship? Is it in a higher state of consciousness, or is it not? Is it based in fear? Because I will tell you this, if you're not managing your thoughts and you're not conscious, present, and aware of what it is that you're thinking, what it is that you're creating, because our thoughts create our reality, and then the emotional body, because it's tied to the physical body, binds us and anchors us into that reality that we created in our thoughts. And if we're not monitoring our thoughts and staying in charge, in command of what is transpiring with our thoughts, then our thoughts are going to be created through the fear paradigm, right? Through the fear matrix, which is the third dimensional matrix, because that's what it holds. So if you're not being present for your thoughts and you're not showing up for your thoughts, then you're creating your reality haphazardly through fear, unintentionally, but you're still doing it nonetheless, because we have to be in control of everything that is transpiring in our reality at this moment, right? We have to take charge of timelines, because if we don't take charge of a timeline will collapse on us. And then in that collapse, we may have to take more steps than we would have had to have taken if we collapsed the timeline ourselves, if we close the timeline ourselves, right? But if we don't, and we let that timeline collapse because we're not paying attention, then we may have to take more steps than it was necessary in order to rectify that collapsed timeline. Okay, very, very important to keep that awareness. Realities, all realities, right? All timeline realities are built on complete consciousness. So if we're not completely conscious, then we are not at the helm driving our bus, so to speak. If we're not staying conscious, then we're giving way to other things like old beliefs, right? Other people's opinions and influences showing up for us that will maybe push us into a different direction, maybe not the one that we wanted to go to, but their strong opinion kind of creates that situation for us, right? So we have to be conscious of everything that we are creating in our reality. We have to be conscious of where our thoughts are. Okay, it's really important. Now, I want to share something with you that's very important for us to have an awareness of in dream state, because we're doing a lot of clearing and we're clearing massive amounts of timelines, parallel realities in dream state. So the other morning I woke up from Of course, it was a lucid dream because I was aware that I was in the dream interacting with my father when I was in the dream. And when I woke up, I had a whole bunch of answers from that dream rush into my field. And many of you might be experiencing this. And it's very important to have this awareness, right? So that we can keep choosing higher and see that we are perfectly perfect right where we are in this now moment. Because in that dream, I was with my father. I was the age and person that I am now, except not the ascension teacher. I was different. I was somebody, playing another role, whatever that was, whether I was working a corporate job or whatever. But I was a caregiver to my father, who was, I guess he would have been in his 80s at this time, right? So I was my age. He was in his 80s, his actual age for where he was. So we were in this now moment, just on another timeline, in another parallel reality. Okay. And what was interesting was, in that parallel reality, my mom passed before my dad. Whereas in this reality that I'm existing in, my dad actually passed before my mom, 10 years before my mom passed, right? And so in that other reality that I was in with my dad as a caregiver for him, I wasn't doing this work. I was in a lower vibrational state. As a matter of fact, I could see myself from my appearance that I was in a much lower vibrational state, probably very unhappy with my life, not feeling good about it. And what makes so much sense about this dream that I had, this reality that I was seeing. Oh, did you see my light body just kicked in as I talked about that flash of light is light body activation. It's doing that on its own now, where I don't even have to put my hands near myself in order for the light to just kind of like pop on. But what happened in that dream that was really interesting was that I realized that when my dad passed back in, I think it was 2003, my brother stepped up as the sole caregiver of my mom, which, she didn't need anybody to really manage or take care of it, but he was there with her. They both lived in North Carolina, and he was there to assist and support her until she eventually moved in with him and his wife at the time. And so my brother took on that role. And in this dream, it was actually me that took on the role of caregiver to my father, because my brother and my father never really got along. There was always this tension between the two of them. So this dream made so much sense to me that I would step up and I would be the caregiver to my father in this dream. Okay. So we could see how realities play out. What I also realized from that is that where I am now, in this moment now, I am probably in my highest timeline or highest parallel reality, right? And integrating and merging everything up into this now moment, into this now reality. And maybe there's one or two higher timelines of future selves that are out there that have been guiding me, that have been working through me, right? As my higher self is bringing all this higher aligned information through. But this is happening for all of us, and you're all having this experience too in your dream state, okay? And I want you to understand, especially for those of you that are tuned into my channel here, that are part of my soul group family here, if you support this channel, then you are most likely in your highest timeline as well, okay? Because that's where we're working from. You can't be connected and tuned into my work and vibing with my work in the state that I bring it through if you're not also in that higher aligned state of being. And the reason I'm pointing that out is so that you can relax and just be and receive what's coming in for you. Because I hear so many people all the time are worried about, I should have done this in the past and it would have gotten me this, or I should have done that in the past and it would have happened this. That's not true at all. You're perfectly perfect exactly where you are now in the process that you're going through, because this is where you are in your highest state of being. Okay. So let everything else go so that you can continue to evolve yourself in your ascension timeline. All right. That's really important. And it's really very, very important to also have the understanding that we're doing immense amount of clearing in our dream state. Okay. And so while I had that one dream that was very lucid, that was very clear, I was engaging with my father probably in order to clear up that timeline so I could merge it and integrate it into this now moment here. But I was also very aware of other times where I must have had many of those parallel realities. So in other words, the experience of my father surviving my mother and me being the caregiver, that was only one parallel reality to that scenario, right? But as we know, there are a bazillion. So even though I was in only one timeline, one dream, one scenario where I was interacting with my father, we all know that there are a bazillion other timelines with me and just my father, right? Interacting in that way that are also out there that also need to be integrated, because for every one choice that we make, there's a bazillion other choices that are playing out without you. There's a bazillion other roads you could have chosen, okay? And these are how timelines work, which is why it's so important for us to be super conscious of everything that we're creating, especially through our thoughts, our words, and our actions, because this is how our reality is shaped, okay? And I'm seeing more and more how things are manifesting so quickly to give us the experience that we think we need to have, right? And that all comes from our thoughts. So managing our thoughts is very, very important at this time. All right. Yeah, these energies are very intensified. You have to just be present, love yourself through. The activations and upgrades are just incredible at this time. I know I was going through something in dream state again last night, and I woke up going through an activation. Since my friend came back from her vacation, she was away for a week. She shifted. Her whole timeline is completely different, which shifted the household timeline higher. And so I got to integrate and upgrade last night, and it was awful, but it was so short, unlike other times, because it only lasted maybe 3 hours. I was going through a template wipe. And this is the other part of this I wanted to talk about with you guys, is that you may have heard me talk about template wipes in the past. And what's important to have an awareness of is when we're going through these upgrades, it's literally, if you think about I don't know, a tennis ball or a ball that has like a bazillion rubber bands that makes up that ball, because that's how it bounces, right? And if you think about the earth as also having those bands and our bodies as having those bands, when we go through a template wipe or a template upgrade, right, it means that one of those bands is being pulled away from our field, okay? And that template is literally being pulled away and it's being overlaid with a new template. Now, template upgrades, right? When we have a template wipe, the more significant template wipes, when we have the wipe, we will feel totally detached. We will maybe not want to do the work that we do anymore. We might not want to do the hobbies that we liked, right? We might feel like, I don't want to, well, I'll take myself, right? I don't want to do this work anymore, because I've had this happen so many times where I felt completely detached. I don't want to do this work anymore. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to make the videos. I don't want to see clients, right? And all that is a transition. As I am transition, I am upgrading. I'm in a void. I'm in a gap, right? Where it just feels that way, right? It's not my truth. It just feels that way, but my inner being is being tweaked. Okay. It's being tweaked for the purpose of a new experience coming in, higher level codes coming in, higher level intelligence coming in, that's creating this connection, this higher level connection to my higher self. Okay. And so that's all that is. That is an upgrade to our body system. Now, why is that important? It's important to have this awareness because I know many will go through this and they will become depressed, that they don't feel connected to their work anymore. They don't feel connected to their family anymore. They don't feel connected to their spouse or significant other or partner or whatever. They don't feel connected anymore. Okay, there's this detachment that happens and it can feel very depressing if you dwell in it. So how do we get beyond that? Is by realizing, oh, I'm feeling so detached from everything. I don't feel like painting anymore. I don't feel like working anymore, whatever. Okay, great. I'm going to let myself be. I'm just going to let myself be. I'm going to have a lazy day. I'm not going to judge myself because, of course, at the same time, we're clearing guilt programming, right? And I'm just going to let myself be, and I'm going to surrender to my process, and I'm just going to be in flow. And I will tell you, if you can do that and you can stay out of dwelling in it, stay out of overthinking it, stay out of over processing it, what will happen is in a matter of hours or a day or 2 days or 3 days or however long, it goes away because the template overlay takes hold. And the next thing you know, you're in an upgraded situation. Okay. So we have to be very, very forgiving right now, because every time I've ever gone through one, it's just tweaked how I do my work. It just tweaked me to a new level so that maybe the information just flows through better for me. And I have a better way of working with the person that I'm working with. I have a better experience reading their higher self. I have a better experience of bringing through whatever it is that is needing to come through in that moment for the purpose of the session and the amplification of their own being, right? I try not to use the word healing because that's a very 3D term, okay? Because nobody needs healing. We are all capable of healing ourselves, but it's for the amplification of that individual and their state of being, okay? So it's very important to have this awareness. If you are feeling completely detached and you're finding yourself getting depressed about feeling detached from your work, you don't want to do the work anymore, I'm going to tell you, it passes, it goes away, but we have to stay out of the ability to feed the lower level distortion. In other words, if you stay focused on how low you're feeling or how you're feeling detached, and then you're feeling upset about it or you're feeling anxious about it, you're going to stay in it longer because you're actually in resistance, because you're not able to clear it, heal it, or process it, right? So you have to be careful. We have to be careful when we're working in this, that we can just in that moment just say, okay, so today I don't feel like working. Maybe I won't feel like working tomorrow either, but maybe that's an opportunity for me to go through this upgrade that my body is needing to go through in this moment so that I can have a better experience at being me. Okay, so it's very, very important to have that awareness. These template wipes are no joke. They will make you forget your past. I don't dwell in the past. I hardly remember my past. It'll make you, template wipes make you forget the names of everyday things that you use, like spoons, and it'll make you forget people's names. It'll make you forget connections to people. It'll make you forget how to do something. I know that there've been times I couldn't remember how to open my door, how to start my car, right? So, I mean, these are the things that we can expect. And then the minute you let it go and you laugh at yourself or whatever, you'll come right back online. If not in minutes, hours, definitely the next day or two. And it'll all come back with, you being aware again. Okay. So when we're going through these upgrades and these activations, there is nothing to worry about. There is nothing to be afraid of. Okay. The more you can just relax and let yourself go, the better you're going to have a time experiencing it. Excuse me. Okay. Last thing. Yesterday I posted, or this morning rather, I posted a video on my YouTube here on YouTube and also Instagram of a fairy that just came out of a portal. How do I know? Because I saw her manifestation. I saw the energy shift. And if I could slow down the video more than I already have, you would actually see the field around her disperse as she comes through the portal and then flies across past the tree, right? So two things I want to share on that are important because they're questions coming from you. How do I tune into that to know that she's coming so that I take the video? I feel it. I'm so present in my state of being that I feel it, and then I tune to it, and then there it is for me, okay? We can't feel it and tune to it if we're running distortion. So if you're worrying about everything else that's outside there and it's not in your reality, you're not going to feel it, you're not going to tune to it. The second part of that is that I've had a lot of comments that you're not able, some of you are not able to see the fairy in the video. Okay, that's a timeline. So in other words, the timeline that video, the fairy, and I exist on, you may not be matching up with vibrationally just yet, which is okay. But the more you stay present and the more you work on self-love, right? Self-empowerment, and staying conscious of everything that you're creating, staying aware of your thoughts and understanding how you're creating your reality, the more you're going to give yourself an opportunity to experience the fairy. So don't get discouraged if you can't see the fairy in the video. All right. It just means that you're just not there in that timeline yet, but you will be eventually. So try not to get upset about it. Okay. It's really nothing to be upset or worried about. Okay. This is how we're creating. Again, as these distortions present in the lower 3D reality, I want to remind you, if you are on social media excessively, in other words, if that's your companion, and all you're doing is scanning through your Instagram feed, looking at videos, you're on Twitter, looking to see what the flow of the day is, or any place else, okay, even YouTube, any place else, you're not present. If you're not present, you're not accessing your higher creator state. You're not accessing the higher timelines. Okay. You can only do that from a present state of being. If you're on social media looking to see what's going on out there, out in the reality that's out there, you're not present. You're not staying focused and creating what's in your reality. Right now, I'm in my house. The only thing that's in my reality is what's here in this room with me. I can't see my bedroom from here. I can't see my friend's bedroom from here. I can't see the bathroom from here because that's all upstairs. Technically, because I'm not upstairs with it, technically, it's not in my immediate reality right here. Okay. What's in my immediate reality right here is the desk my computer's on, my computer, my cell phone, my water bottle, my pen. That's it. That's what's in my reality, with the chairs that are in front of me, the cat condos that are in front of me, right? That's what I am seeing. What's in my immediate reality. That's in my immediate reality. That's all I'm worried about or focused on. I'm not worried about what's out there, what's beyond the walls of this house even, because it has no bearing or effect on me. It's the illusion. It's not created until I dip into it and create from that energy out there. So if you're constantly out there, checking on out there, wondering what's happening out there, you're not catching your 5D creator codes. You're expressing yourself through the third dimensional matrix energy, which holds fear. Okay. So it's really important to pull ourselves back so that we're not operating, we're not creating from those lower level distorted timelines. Okay. Try to pull yourself away from the social media, because that's a codependency. That's a codependency right there. So you don't want to do that, right? Start to become aware of what happens there when you're tuning into that. What's taking place with that? Okay. Why are you there? Are you feeling lonely? If you're feeling lonely and you just need something else to do or check on your buddies or whatever, right? Go within. Go within. Make some time to go within. Commune with nature. Get outside. Hug a tree. Lay in the grass. Commune with Gaia. Okay. Sit in the sun, commune with the sun. Okay. That's what we should be doing. Not on social media. If you're sitting there for hours at a time, scrolling through, not the place to be. Okay. Even my stuff, right? I'll tell people to binge watch my videos to help get them into the higher timeline, because my videos hold a frequency. They hold an activation and transmission coming through, right? But then there comes a point where you access those higher timelines. You don't need to be here 24/7 binge watching my videos, okay? You just can tune into the next one that comes on and then go out and hug a tree or something like that. I make these videos in order to help amplify the collective consciousness. I make these videos to assist and support those that maybe are not aware or don't have, information coming in that assists and supports their ascension process. All right. So it's very important to have an understanding. I am not on social media all day, every day. I go on to social media when I have to post something because I need to share information with you. That's why I'm there. Okay. So I want you to start practicing. Those of you that are having a challenge, pulling yourselves away from social media, I want you to start practicing spending time alone. Get creative. We need to kick on the creator codes. Creation is going to be very important in the years to come. You're going to think back and go, oh my God, she was right. Creation is so important right now. But you don't want to miss the boat on that. We have to be right there, right? So get yourself creating. Start doing something that is going to amplify your state of being, that's going to make you happy. All right. And I think I'm going to leave it right here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for supporting my channel. Know that I love you so, so very much. Enjoy whatever it is that you're doing. And I will see you again soon. I love you. Bye-bye.